Hey guys, what's going on? Just coming back here to do the final few days of my 2012 Halloween watch list. We've gone through quite a few movies, and I'm going to reserve this day for something very special that I do every year if possible. At least I've done it the last several years. Last year, about this day, I selected Insidious because of that was my favorite movie, that kind of come out that year. And that's what we're talking about today is my favorite horror movie that has come out this year so far. I had a feeling that maybe I'd see Sinister by this point. I have not. So it's very possible that a movie like that could have been in this position, but possibly maybe next year. The movie that I selected, though, this year is The Innkeepers. I really think I like Cabin in the Woods better, but since Cabin in the Woods isn't actually a horror movie, I would more rather watch this coming right up on Halloween. This is only like the second or third time I've watched this. This movie is still just as good the second or third time as it was the first time. Now, having seen it, you know where a couple of the scares are in the film, but the pacing is so well done that you get locked back into the cycle of waiting for it to happen, and it still hits you kind of the same way. We'll get into the description of the movie itself. This is a Ty West movie. I'm a fan of his. I can't say that I like everything he's done, but I really enjoyed House of the Devil, and this was the next big project he had coming out that I was looking forward to, and I was not disappointed. He was one of the directors on VHS this year, and I didn't like his segment as much as some of the others, but I can say that probably the way he does his movies, he needs a good hour, hour and a half to really build up the kind of suspense that he uses in his films. Because this is a slow burn, sort of like House of the Devil. Unlike House of the Devil, which was set kind of like the late 70s, early 80s, even though it was made in current times, it had a very strong vintage feel to it. This film here is actually set in modern times, but it uses the techniques of a 70s or 80s film. Like if you've seen something like The Shining, you get the feel for how those things work, which is it's just a lot of intense buildup. The music, the cinematography. And what you get is not just out of your seat scares. What you do is you get a scare that you know is coming, and it takes a really, really long time to get to you, and it pays off. That's the main thing, is does it pay off? And in this film it does. I really like the acting. I think the casting of this makes a big difference in whether or not you're going to think that this movie is believable, whether or not you can get sucked in and have yourself waiting for that big scare moment. The actors on this, Sarah Paxton plays Claire, which she is the main actress in this. She's great. She looks younger than she actually is, so she's one of those actresses that's probably going to get a lot of parts all over the place. She could play a high school teenager, and then the next movie she's like this. She's just a young girl that's like a college dropout or whatever. I think realistically, the way that they could portray her, she could almost play anybody probably 15 to 30. She also works there with another guy, Luke, and I think he's a great actor as well, Pat Healy, and I really like that character he plays. He plays kind of an older guy, probably in his like early 30s, maybe mid 30s, and together they're kind of like the two that are running the hotel right before it closes. And the hotel they're staying in, the Yankee Peddler, has a really long tradition going back hundreds of years, and it's just lost business more and more over time, and it's finally closing. Since it's about to close, there's not hardly anybody staying in the hotel, and the two of them are the only two running the hotel. At the beginning, you have a couple of people that are staying at the hotel. There's a mother who's going through problems with her husband, and her and her son are there, and they're kind of continually upset with everything that's going on. And then you've got Kelly McGillis, and Kelly McGillis I hadn't seen in a long time, and she plays a former actress that over time you figure out that she's also really big into things with psychics and just kind of mystical supernatural things. And she plays this character named Lee is what they end up calling her. I think her name is Leanna something. But it's really funny to see Claire interact with this character Lee because Sarah Paxton plays it so well. She is a big fan of Lee's from her growing up, seeing her on television and movies and everything, and you get this fun moment where she is kind of starstruck. I like that. Luke and Claire dynamic is really interesting because you can tell that even though Luke's quite a bit older than Claire, they kind of have this, general respect for each other, and they're very playful as far as the things they do, the routines. You can tell they've worked together for a while and that they're actually pretty good friends. And it kind of gives you a sense of realism, what it's like to work in that hotel. And not only that, it also, the cinematography gives you a good opportunity to feel the space of the hotel. It's kind of like if you watch something like The Shining, and the cinematography on that gives you a lot of vastness. It's very beautiful. It's like an artistic way of seeing things. Every wide shot, every big grand shot from above is like a painting. It's framed really well. There's lots of interesting colors. And you get that same kind of moment in this several times when you walk into a gigantic open room with the lighting just a certain way and certain colors, and then the shots from above the stairway. It's really beautiful, and that compared to the simple moments that build up through the beginning of the movie, it makes you really feel like you've been in this hotel before. It makes you feel like you're there with Claire and Luke all along the way, because it doesn't try to give you something to scare you at the very beginning. Instead, it lets you relate to these characters, and more importantly, it lets you know that this is not normal. If something's going to happen, it's going to be very shocking because you see how much of this place is just the mundane, normal, day-to-day stuff. But it won't bore you with that because the actor choices that they have for Claire and Luke are so great that everything they do are actually fun to watch. The Luke character, he's really big into like the ghost investigating side of television. You can tell that he's really influenced by all the stuff that's going on right now that's all over television. And what he's doing is he's trying to set up a website. He's trying to catch some things on his camera or on his recording device. And he says at the beginning that his camera is still not fixed, but he has brought his, microphone and his recording equipment. So what you get is them in their boredom still trying to capture somebody's voice or something creepy happening. And it's great because you get the feeling that they've done this for a long time and nothing's really ever happened. The website that Luke runs is kind of, I wouldn't say that it's just empty. There is stuff on there, but there's nothing on there that would make you think that there was ghosts there. In fact, most of the stuff that's on there looks very normal. There's a counter at the bottom, and you can tell that not a lot of people have been there. It just makes it feel very average. This is definitely not a place that's known for its ghost. Although there is a legend about this woman who's named Madeline O'Malley that was a bride that apparently committed suicide way back when. There's this continual feeling that she is this ghost, and that if there's something in this place, it's her. And Claire is continually thinking that maybe she's trying to connect with Madeline. Madeline's somehow communicating with her. And it's a slow build on whether or not that's really happening or not. And there's lots of moments where the things start to build up and then there's a tension break. And you go back to the normal and then it builds up again. And it's great. I think this is probably one of the most atmospheric movies I've seen in a long time. It's definitely my favorite from this past year as far as it's just well made. I don't think there's a single moment in this movie where you can say that was not done very well. You might not like the type of pacing that's in this. You might not like the directing style of Ty West or the choice of the actors, but there's never a moment where you felt like he was going for something and it failed. In fact, his taste is basically all you've got to enjoy. If you enjoy his taste in films and the way they're made, then he nailed this one. This is his best movie by far, knocked it out of the park. In fact, I'm very curious to see what he'll do next. You guys definitely check this out if you get a chance. I think it's brilliant. There's really nothing I could say about that I haven't already said. But for this next bonus section I'm going to set up, it's probably going to be small. I'm actually watching this kind of early in the day, The Innkeepers, because I have to go to my grandparents this evening. But I'm going over there and we're going to make some snacks while we watch a football game. So I'm going to go ahead and put that at the end, and I'll let you guys see some of the stuff that we're having. It's pretty fun. It's some of the things that I like to make. It's really delicious. So I'm going to the grocery store, picking up all the stuff for that, and then heading over there. It's usually loud over there, and the TV's on, and everybody's talking at the same time. So I may kill the sound on that and kind of run some music or something over it. That's what I did last time on my 4th of July video. So I will go ahead and leave it at that, and I will see you guys over in the bonus section, and then I will see you again tomorrow. All right. Bye. Yeah, we're out of field goal range now.
And some of the little ones, but yeah, you know, everybody split, they was about like a big burrito, like a huge burrito.